Hi there, it's George with the Bio Bros. Today, we're going to be talking about sickle cell anemia.
Let's start off with DNA. The gene affected is called the HBB gene, and the protein affected is called beta globin. The protein's normal function is to provide instructions for making hemoglobin, which is located in red blood cells. This allows oxygen to flow through blood cells and get where it needs to go. This makes the blood cells sickle and hinders oxygen from getting to organs, which eventually makes them shut down. The mutation that causes sickle cell disease is a missense. This is due to the fact that it changes a single amino acid in beta globin. The amino acid glutamic acid is replaced with amino acid valine. This occurs in position 6 in beta globin. This mutation causes hemoglobin to turn into hemoglobin S, its mutated version. Valine causes hemoglobin S subbonds to stick together, causing the cells to turn into a crescent shape, hence the name sickle cell disease. The chromosome it affects is number 11, and its location is 11p15.5. Meiosis and mitosis. If one of the parents is heterozygous, there is a 50% chance that the parent's kid will have the allele. If the parent is homozygous for the recessive allele, the parent's kid will definitely have a recessive allele. After fertilization, if the zygote has a recessive allele, then all the cells in the body will have the recessive allele because of mitosis. Mitosis replicates the genes and splits into two cells, so the two cells will have the same genes. Background. Some symptoms of this disease include yellowing of the skin, heart failure, shortness of breath, lack of development, and a weakened immune system. To diagnose this disease, doctors take a small amount of blood or they check after you're born. Currently, there's no widely available cure, but there are some treatments for the side effects of the disease. For example, back in 1984, a child was given a bone marrow transplant that cured him of the sickle cell disease, but it was intended to treat his leukemia. Hydroxyurea is a drug that prevents its complications. If you have the disease, you're expected to live to around 40 to 60 years old, which is just below an average lifespan. But over time, the symptoms get worse with age. Pain, shortness of breath, and organ damage will continue to increase. The symptoms will only get worse. Sickle cell disease can cause organs and blood cells to be deprived of oxygen, and after a while, it causes the whole body to shut down. Genetics. Sickle cell anemia is an autosomal recessive disease. Gender does not matter here. It is completely recessive. The first Punnett square has a father with the genotype big S little s and the mother with a small s. There is a 2/4 chance the baby will have the disease. He will definitely be a carrier though. The pedigree shows how no matter what child they have, they will have the disease or be a carrier. The second Punnett square includes a father with the genotype big S little s and the mother with big S little s. So there's a 1/4 chance the child has the disorder and another 2/4 that the child will be a carrier. The pedigree shows how both parents were carriers and how there's only one child possible who could be born with a little s allele. The third Punnett square has both parents with small s and small s and small s and small s. So the child will undoubtedly have the disease, and the pedigree shows that the whole family will have sickle cell anemia. Evolution. The first part of the Harvey-Weinberg equation is p to the power of 2 plus 2pq plus q to the power of 2 is equal to 1. In this equation, p squared represents the frequency of homozygous dominant people in the population. 2pq represents the frequency of heterozygous people in the population. The q squared represents the frequency of homozygous recessive in the population. The second part is p plus q equals 1. In this equation, p represents the frequency of the dominant allele, and q represents the frequency of the recessive allele. Sickle cell disease affects about 1 in every 3,000 people in the US. That means the q squared in the equation would be 0.0003. That means that 0.03 of the population has sickle cell anemia. The 2pq in the equation would be 0.03583. This means that 3.583% of the population is a carrier for sickle cell anemia. Well, I hope you enjoyed our presentation, and if you have any questions, please feel free to ask.